And I have on my left George Griffith of Surfside Wellness Center. George, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. I know you're such a busy guy, so you literally just ran through the door
Right.
to get here.
Right.
So thank you once again. But I always like to start from the beginning of everyone I interview.
Right.
Who is George Griffith?
Wow, that's a big question. How much time have we got?
Well, we have an hour, so
Right,
let's
right.
make it count.
Okay, well, as far as the fitness career is concerned, I went to England to study electrical engineering in 1987 after winning a Barbados Government exhibition. And while I was there, I was very active in sports and fitness. I was on student government, responsible for sports and fitness. And the way I got into fitness was because I was responsible for all the physical activity. One Sunday morning, the aerobics instructor didn't turn up. Yeah.
So you got thrown in the deep end.
I ran literally. So I had to get up on stage. I've told this story 100 times, but I had to get up on stage and I had a search around. I found a Madonna Mega Mix CD. Don't ask me why I own such a thing, but we found one.
This is, it was like a virgin.
It was all those remixes, like a Virgin, Say a Prayer, all the remixes.
And Vogue.
Vogue, of course. And I got up. No, Vogue wasn't even out yet. This is how long ago this was.
Okay.
So I got up on stage, and it was a hall full of women looking for a great aerobics class. I think there was over 100 people when I started the class. By the time I finished the class, there were probably less than 10 people there. And those 10 people were obviously there.
Was there a situation that the class was that strenuous, or you were that bad?
I was that bad. I was really that bad. I've never had any training. I had no training, so I was just like, I got up there and did what I thought I could remember from having done a couple classes. And like when it felt like it was an hour, I looked at my watch, it was only 5 minutes gone. And so I just started over and did it again until, people were just trickling out the room. So I said to myself, that's not going to happen to me again. And that was kind of the beginning of my fitness education. I did one certification after another. And eventually I came back to Barbados in 1994. And at that point in time, I wasn't sure that I would continue to work in fitness.
You're really aging yourself, George.
Well, yes. I'm just 30 years right now. I started out really young, 6 years old. So yeah, I came back to Barbados in 94, and I was actually teaching maths at Hartson College. And my intention was to find the right engineering job. Fitness was a kind of a thing I was doing on the side. But I started out being very successful at it, and before I knew it, my fitness income had overtaken my teaching income, which says a lot about how much we pay teachers in general and on the island.
Hey, and this how many years later? So yeah,
it's the same thing, yeah. And what I kind of had an opportunity when a mentor of mine, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a program on TV called Shape Up with Maureen
Yes.
Surfleet, yeah.
Yes.
Well, Maureen was looking.
I heard about it.
Come on, you were
I
leg
heard
warmers, right?
about it.
You had a pair of leg warmers on.
Oh, no, no, Jay found leg warmers.
Right.
No.
Leg warmers and unitards were the thing back then. So Maureen was looking to get out of the industry at the time, and she wanted to leave her business with someone who she thought would give a good service to her members.
So you're already answering the next question. So continue.
Yeah. So she approached me, and I remember at the time I had $0 and 0 cents. So I went to the bank and I said, "How much money?"
I could
can you
so
give
run
me?"
without George, but you're a mathematician, studying engineering.
So yeah. So I went to the bank and I said, "What's the largest loan I can get unsecured?" And they gave me a number, and I basically signed it over to her. And as we went, we would earn the money from Monday to Friday, and on the weekend we would spend it knocking out a wall here, buying a piece of equipment there.
And you built it slowly.
And we built it slowly, lots of blood, sweat, and tears, and here we are. I think that was in 1997. Last year we celebrated 20th anniversary, and now we're looking forward to the next 20 years.
You at the helm?
Well, probably not.
I can see George coming through the gym and it's
I have a new grandson, by the way. He is Joshua. He was born on December 27th, and my son actually works in the business, Jamal.
Yeah.
So hopefully Jamal will be taking over, and I can go home
Okay.
and put my feet up pretty soon, or at least do more jujitsu.
But did you ever see yourself owning a gym?
No, I didn't. Actually, even when I took over Surfside initially, my plan was to grow the business to a point and then sell it. Just flip it to somebody who was more interested. But as time went on, circumstances changed, and I never felt comfortable just leaving the people who supported me all that time. So I stayed with it, and we grew into your own business. And I always think it's better to be your own boss if possible. Not everybody has that opportunity to be an opportunity.
And that backbone to
it takes a
do
lot.
the good and the bad.
It takes a lot because you're never on holiday. You could be anywhere in the world. You're always switched on. If something happens, your mind's still going to be there. You're never really on vacation. And you have to be prepared for that. But you know, there's also the benefit. The benefit is you set your own hours. You put as much as you put into your business, you're going to get out. And at the end of the day, you're your own boss. So you live and die by, you know, how much you put into your business.
Okay, so just a little side question. Is it true that abs are made in the kitchen and not in the gym? I mean, that's a saying that everybody runs with. So how true is that? For me, for persons that are watching and they're going to gym and they burst their tails on the equipment and the cardio machines, doing 2 and 3 hours and 3-hour classes, and they're ready and they never have abs.
Right. Well, I mean, there's some people out there who genetically just have lower body fat.
I ain't one of those persons.
Right. So if you're one of those people who just genetically, you know, you see some guys walking on the beach and they've never been into the gym, but they're just ripped to shreds. Genetically they're just predisposed. Exactly. And then there are other people who, you know, find it a little harder. So if you're one of the people who find it a little harder, you have to spend more time on your nutrition, because it's about trying to create that kind of balance. You have to get your body to burn off that body fat. We all have the same muscles underneath, but I'm going to see your abdominals.
Some are more covered and
exactly.
protected.
And that layer of protection, is
good.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
if it was winter,
yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have winter here, so there's no reason. But yeah, that layer of protection comes off in the kitchen.
No, because I've done the whole physique competition thing, so I personally truly understand what it means to have a regime when it comes to your diet, and it's not the easiest thing. Most persons get really frustrated with the diet part. Is that true?
Absolutely. And you kind of have to do that little balance equation for yourself. You know, you have to decide whether, you know, the most important thing for you right now is having that 3, 4, 5% body fat. In which case, you have to do everything correctly. You have to get up in the morning, you have to get good rest, and you have to get up in the morning, do your cardio. I think it's better to do your cardio first. Then you refuel a little bit, and then you do your strength. You eat certain types of foods at certain times a day, and you supplement and so on. And you pretty much have to track everything if you want to get down to that 3, 4% body fat. Now, if you're somebody else now, you're like, you know what? I'm comfortable being 10, 15% because I don't want to be so obsessed about it. I want to spend some time with my kids. I want to run around with them. I want to play with them. I just want to have good energy, good fitness to enjoy life. I don't want to obsess about it. Then maybe your abs aren't going to show through as much, but you can still be in great shape and you can still, you know, be able to do all the things that you enjoy in life without having to think about it 24
But
hours
having
a
your
day.
body down to that 3 or 5% body fat percentage, are you prone to more injuries? Not having the fat there and cushioning and stuff?
It depends on what you're doing, yeah.
Okay.
Because, you know, that's one of the roles of fat in the body, right? It helps to cushion the joints a little bit and provide some lubrication for the joints. But if you're not doing something that's a high impact sport, then you should be fine. You know, there are people who walk around at 3% body fat, but they're not fighting, they're not jumping, they're not sprinting.
Okay.
So they can be fine with 3% body fat.
What are some of the misconceptions people have when it comes to going into the gym, or some of their fears about going into the gym?
Right. If we deal with misconceptions first, there's people still come in the gym and say, I just want to lose my belly. Right?
You see, back to the abs. I mean, the whole thing about summer, you gotta get your summer body on. Right. So that's a universal thing that's embedded in us.
It's spot reduction. It's either spot reduction or spot enhancement. I want to lose my belly or I want to get my butt bigger. Right?
Oh Lord, the glute fad. Oh
right. Now,
Lord.
Glutes are trendy again, right? Glutes are trendy again. I mean, I'm quite happy about that myself, but you know, spot reduction is very hard to do. If you're burning calories, your body is going to burn calories from wherever there's an excess of fat. So it's not just going to take it from one part, it's going to take it from wherever you have fat stored on your body. So it's very hard to spot reduce. So get in there, and especially if you have a certain shape, you're going to basically maintain that shape. and just get that shape smaller over time. And then you can do some stuff, you know, as far as what we call remodeling is concerned. If I just worked arms every day, my arms would get bigger. So you can then focus on those areas that you think are more concerned to you and put a little more
for
emphasis
the
on
remodeling, I got called in Fix It Upper on HGTV.
Right.
Joanne then come and fix me up and change everything.
You're in
'Cause
pretty
I
good
just,
shape, great.
I just,
For a guy your age, you're in pretty good shape.
let that be stricken from the record, people.
Right.
Can we delete that and come back again? Right, so that's some shade. Mr. Ancient over here.
Right.
So that's the misconceptions, and then you said,
As far as there was a misconceptions, and what was the other one you asked?
and then I had said it differently, but it's just the misconception that people have. So
Right.
that's going on.
Oh, concerns.
And concerns.
Yeah. I think one of the things I have is like, I have to get fit before I come into the gym. You know?
I've heard that
Yeah.
many times
Yeah.
myself.
People think they have to get fit before they come to the gym, or they think that
To look a certain way that they can aesthetically fit in
Right.
with the environment.
or they think that everybody in the gym is already fit and super fit, and they're not going to fit in. And you know, I'm here to tell you that that's not true. There's very few places you're going to go, except maybe, you know, high performance sports centers, where you're going to walk into a gym and you're not going to see people who look just like you. They're going to be the same age as you
Average
are.
people.
They're average people. That's why we're there, right? We're all there trying to get a little bit better. So you come in and you wear whatever you feel comfortable in, and you just focus on you for that hour and a half, whatever. And you know, find the right space where people are going to support you. There's no one shaming you for whatever shape or size you're in. And as long as you're comfortable, just give it enough time to start to see some progress.
Okay, well, I have a video that
Uh-huh.
I'm going to share with everyone
Right.
of one of your members
Okay.
from Surfside.
Mm-hmm.
And the video will be coming shortly, and her name is Peggy.
Right.
And are we ready?
My name is Peggy Salmon, and I'm 60 years old. I went to England last year, and when I came back, my husband was in the gym. It was a secret. It was funny. So I know that, you know, I was feeling a little tired and can't get upstairs, feeling fat and puffy. So then he said, Peggy, I said, I think I should go to the gym too. So he said to me, I have someone I think that looked like a good trainer, you know, she saw the training. And then I came and I inquired about the gym. So I went to my doctor and I got it okay, that it's okay for me to go to the gym. So I came up with when did you start? I started from January 2017 and I'm still at it. My experience is that I feel good. I feel like I come up the stairs, I walk on the stairs. And I feel a lot better, you know, walking, much better. You know, my knees and stuff. I had to tell someone, I said, Surfside is good. And not that I'm biased, but Kathy, she's an excellent trainer. So when I started with Kathy, she asked me what my meals are like, and she started like from breakfast, like snacking, dinner, and lunch, and dinner. So I had to like start with breakfast, like do all of my meals, like my breakfast, send pictures to her, lunch, send pictures, and a very small plate. And then like, if anything is wrong and I like want to eat it, like she told me like back of that, and she's having the ingredients for me. I make sure that I come to the gym like at least sometimes 5 days, 4 days, and that helped me a lot. Yes.
So we're back, and that was your member, Peggy.
Yes.
Is she still a member?
Absolutely, she's still a member. She's still there every morning. She's still working hard. Yeah, I think Peggy's story is an inspirational one. Peggy is, you know, for all intents and purposes, you know, she's a mature person. She's not out there trying to enter any physique competitions. She's not out there looking to compete in any, you know, any athletic pursuit.
She just wants a better
looking
lifestyle.
to improve her quality of life, and that's what you have to do. You have to get a goal that works for you and stick to it. We all have different goals. You know, somebody might be, like you said, want to be 3% body fat. Somebody might want to compete in the CrossFit Open. Somebody might want to run a marathon. But your goal is your goal. And your goal is going to direct what direction you take as far as your fitness pursuit. I think recently there's been kind of a move towards this is the only thing that works. You know, and that comes up every now and then. I remember when indoor cycling first became popular, when spin became popular. It was like, if spin is the only thing that works. If you're not doing spin, then you're not doing anything. And we've seen that with Pilates, with yoga, and now
Then
more recently Zumba and
now
even,
CrossFit.
Right. So, you know, you can't go back and tell me that somebody who lost 20 pounds, you know, 15 years ago did it incorrectly. You know,
It's
whatever.
all relative to
Absolutely.
the time.
So you have to find the thing that works for you. And the most effective exercise program is the thing that you're going to enjoy, because if you enjoy it, you're going to stick with it. There's no point in me doing a program that I'm going to do for 1 week and then drop out because I hate it. So find the thing that works for you, make sure you enjoy it, and stick with it as long as you can to get some results.
So the gym is called Surfside Wellness.
Correct.
Why wellness?
We wanted to make the distinction between just hardcore fitness, and we wanted to give that overall approach. So it's not just about how you look, it's about how you feel, it's about managing your stress. We're interested in whether your blood pressure is off the charts. We're interested in whether your blood glucose is under control, because sometimes there are people out there who are fit, but they're not healthy. If you think about, you know, if you think about elite athletes, they're very, very fit, but their joints are broken. You know, they have high blood pressures, they have enlarged hearts sometimes. And the average person doesn't want those things. We want to be able to add 7 years onto our lives and have a life that is free of all the morbidities. So you have to find the right balance between fitness and health sometimes, and wellness. Wellness is overall. It includes how you feel mentally, it includes a perception of yourself, how you interact with other people, how you manage stress, that whole thing that we want to go after.
I have heard about a few, but I want you to tell me some of the craziest things you have heard of when it comes to the fitness fads that people will put themselves through before they come to you.
Right. Well, I mean,
Throughout the years.
there's all sorts of extreme diets out there, right? So we heard about the cabbage soup diet.
I heard of that.
You don't want to be in a room with anybody.
Oh
who's eating cabbage soup,
no!
not for any extended period of time. Right?
Oh, very gassy.
Right, correct. Then there was the egg and grapefruit diet.
I know about the grapefruit, but the egg and grapefruit.
Egg and grapefruit diet.
Oh,
there was that
God.
one. Yeah. And then, you know, there are all the kind of the suits, the abs trainers and the hot suits and so on, which
Sweatbox.
Correct, all those things. There's been so many over time. You know, I hesitate to name them because I don't want anyone to feel embarrassed about it.
Okay.
You know, we made mistakes over time with the information we had, but now we know better, and we know that it takes a pretty consistent approach. You know, find something that works and make small incremental changes. Just try to be better today than you were yesterday.
No, you said something just now that sparked something for me. Years ago, the nutritionist said eggs were bad.
Right.
And then they came a year later and they
Right.
said eggs were good.
Right.
2 years later, they came and said eggs were bad.
again, right.
And then a year they came and said, well, eat it in moderation.
Right.
Then they said, no, it produces high cholesterol.
Right.
No, and then they said, no, it's not bad for you.
Right.
How do we know when every time they put out a report,
Right.
what to listen to?
It's tough, and I think as far as the whole health and fitness thing, nutrition is probably the hardest nut to crack. And I say that because, you know, there's about 40 different nutrients your body needs to function optimally. And then you combine that with everybody's got different DNA, different genetics. There's going to be different interactions. So what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you. And
So somebody just setting a particular meal plan and give it to everyone and expect that it's going to work. I've heard about that.
I'm going to stay away from that question. I'm going to stay away from that question because.
But you see, no, I'm not telling you to call anybody or
Right,
anything,
yeah.
but a lot of people do it. They just write one overall meal plan and hand it over.
Right, and I've seen that, especially in kind of the physique industry. We have a little different approach. A few years ago, I had this question, which it was like people were coming to the club every day and they were working hard, and they were going home and they weren't eating poorly, and they still didn't seem to be changing their bodies in the way that they wanted to. And I basically went back into all the exercise physiology and nutrition books, and I'm like, what is the missing link? And I figured that there had to be some genetic component to it. And so I invested in a piece of equipment that measures your resting metabolic rate. You basically hook you up to a hose and you breathe into it. It measures how you use oxygen and so on, and it can calculate how many calories you're burning while you're at rest. And that was so instructive for us, because all the equations in the textbooks told us that bigger people were supposed to have higher resting metabolic rates. And yet the highest resting metabolic rate we've seen measured was by somebody who's 104 pounds. And that's my wife, Monica. She's had the highest resting metabolic rate that we've seen in anybody.
Something's wrong with that one.
Right. and it makes sense, because, you know, if she turns around twice, she's under 100 pounds and she's always struggling to keep her weight on. And then we have people come in and, you know, they're 250 pounds and they have resting metabolic rates of 1,200 calories. So they're eating well, maybe 15 to 1,700 calories, 1,800 calories a day, but still not able to lose weight, because even though they're eating all the right things, they're still eating too much of them. So getting that measurement done, so you know what your particular number is. So now you can go back to a nutritionist and say, you know, I had my resting metabolic rate measured and it was 1,300, 1,500, 1,700 calories. And they can work out a plan for you based on what your particular individual numbers are, as opposed to giving you the same photocopied sheet of paper that they gave to everybody else.
Okay, which makes sense because everybody is genetically
Everybody's
different,
different,
so you gotta treat everybody different. So what's good for me is not gonna be good for you. But a lot of people take that they see X person, I love that person. What did you do to get that body? And they tell them, well, I did X. So they go and try X, but they realize that they end up with Y, and they're confused.
It's quite common, you know. The perception is that if you look a particular way and you tell me what you do, I can look that way as well. And you know, being in the industry for a while and having people on staff who've been with me for a while, you know, we're not all 20 anymore. So some of my staff is a little bit older, and you know, whatever they have.
Trying to fight it, but I'm not.
And lifestyles. But people want. I've always said that the most important muscle for a trainer to have is the brain. That's the one that you want to have. You know, you go to doctors and some of them smoke and they drink, but they know how to make you better. And it's the same thing with trainers. Somebody might not be in the best shape at that particular point in time, but if they've put in the study and they have the experience, they can help you to improve. But because it is very much an aesthetic thing, a lot of people don't want to work with trainers who might be 5 or 10 pounds overweight. They want to work with a guy who just won the last physique show.
But I'm going to put my hands in here, and I'm going to testify, I'm going to go to church, and I'm going to say, for me, I could train myself if need be. But if I had to go with a trainer, it has, for me personally, it has to be somebody that I aspire to be like, not do exactly what you have done, but if you have gained that body, you put in the work, I figured that you would make me put in the work. That's how I see it.
Possibly.
So in a sense, but I'm not saying that somebody who was a little larger, and I'm choosing my words carefully because I had this whole fat shaming thing attack.
I saw that. I saw that.
So I was like, I ain't going out there, but no, but it's still a thing. And if somebody will not go to a particular trainer looking a certain way because they don't think that the trainer is fit enough. But I personally know a lot of people that are bigger that fitter than me.
We just had the Super Bowl last Sunday, right?
Yeah, I heard.
So Bill Belichick, they lost, the Patriots lost, but everybody regards Bill Belichick as one of the greatest coaches there is in the game. And he's never really played the game. He doesn't look like a footballer, but he has the knowledge to take his team to the Super Bowl almost every year, you know? So I think the knowledge is the most important thing. But I do understand that, you know, people want to aspire and be inspired by their trainer. So I think you have to find the right balance. I mean, right now, I'm 170 odd pounds. There was a time when I was 200 pounds because I was spending more time trying to build my business than I was on my own training. At that point in time, it was more important for me to be making sure that my members were taken care of and that I had a place for my staff to come to work every day than spending 2 hours training every day to be in the best shape I could possibly be in. You know, so somebody might look back at me and then said, you know, I'm not training with George, he's out of shape. But, you know, they would be making a mistake.
But I just see it as aspiration sign to say, you know what, I want to look like my trainer. My trainer is X, Amina. I would call her Amina for a reason. I mean, a lot of women look to her, they aspire, she puts in the work, so it is something to say my trainer does this.
And I think that's where you should start.
I had a situation where someone, not sorry, just disclaimer, and someone was going to someone who was doing this group session and just telling them what to do. One day the guy said he was going to do the class with them and I almost had a stroke. And everybody was like,
you're telling me to do this.
But you telling me to do this and you can't do it yourself.
Right.
So that's how I personally say it. Just don't do as I say. And
Right. So you have to walk the walk as well. to some
Exactly.
extent.
I need to do it every single day,
Right.
but be an example to lead by.
Absolutely. You have to, it's inspiration, education, and motivation is how I look at it. But I think you can start there. By all means, you can say, oh, wow, Greg, you're in great shape. I'd like for you to train me. What certifications have you got? That should be the second step. The first step is, yes, I want to be inspired by you. But the second step is to be sure that you're going to offer me safe, effective programming. Because you can look a particular way and you can go on YouTube every day, but you may not be able to work with me if I've got a shoulder issue. You might not be able to work with me if something's hurting my back, if I've got a knee problem. And that's where the guy who's taken the little additional effort to study a little bit more, to get the certifications, to get the qualifications, they can make, because if you're injured, you can't train. And they can make sure that you can train. Obviously, there's no training without any risk of injury, but they can significantly reduce that risk of injury for you so you can get more out of your training and train for a longer period of time well into your future.
Okay. So George.
Sounds like something controversial.
No. So you are the distributor for Almax.
Okay.
And I'm going to see how best I can ask this question without outing anything.
Right.
Well, I personally know that you, Surfside, from what I saw, was not really about the whole fitness and the bodybuilding aspect, which is why I told you what it was. It's Surfside Wellness.
Right.
And your man, it was a broader picture than just focusing on one particular demographic, which the bodybuilding and fitness has become, I don't want to say a fad, but it's growing.
It is growing.
It's growing where people actually want to compete and not just because they want to look sexy, they really want to be competitors.
Right.
So you have Almax as your brand.
Right.
Did that, having that brand and knowing where you want to take it, did that lead you to get into the fitness and the bodybuilding aspect more, or that was something you wanted to get into?
No, I had struggled for a long time with selling nutritional supplements because I felt like, we built a reputation over time, and people trusted us as far as decision making was concerned. So if we put something on the shelves, people were going to trust that this was a good product. And I searched and I couldn't find anything that I was willing to put the Surfside name behind. And then eventually I found Almax, and I met with the owner. We sat down, I reviewed all the products, I got all the data from all the studies done, and in my opinion, Almax is one of the top 3 supplement brands in the world throughout the product line. One of the good things about Canadian companies as opposed to American companies is that they have to list every individual ingredient in the product. You can't say, for example, you see something saying goji berry blend, right?
Blended with what?
Exactly, blended with, it might have 2% goji berry. So these guys have truth on their labeling. They're all certified, they're all tested, and I feel very comfortable recommending Almax as a product.
And it's the only protein powder that I use. I mean, I used to use the other stuff, but it's the only.
And people who use the product on the island, they can attest to the results. We didn't necessarily make a decision to move more heavily into the fitness / bodybuilding realm. It kind of came to us because as bodybuilding and fitness has grown, kind of the fitness aspect of it has kind of emerged. So it's gone from, if you go to a show locally, you'll see that there might be 3 or 4 people who are still doing traditional bodybuilding.
Which is not as big as it used to be before.
No, it's not. And aesthetically, I think people are moving more towards the classic physique, towards the men's fitness, towards the bikini. And so that is really your kind of, apart from your Shakiras and so on who are going to compete internationally, that's something that you can have an average person set as a personal fitness goal and say, I'd like to do a show. Because you don't have to have those extreme levels of body fat. In fact, you get marked down if you're too extreme. So it's about a fairly aesthetic.
So it's more sustainable. I think that's the key thing. The bodybuilding is you really got to put all this energy and to get your body to triple of the natural mass.
Right.
But the physique and the fitness is more sustainable and more achievable.
And definitely more achievable. And someone you can set up as a 12-week goal. They can work hard. They can focus on their diet. If they want to, they can.
I saw Roderick. Is Roderick? I was like, damn.
Right.
He put in the work. He put in the work.
And for women especially, I think, for women are often, meant to feel ashamed of their bodies in a way that men aren't, you know, and they have some self-image issues. The bikini, the fitness, they can do something for themselves over 12, 16 weeks and go out there and, you know, feel like they've achieved something, you know, and set their own personal targets and not be judged by anybody else. You know, you go on stage, but you're really going on stage for you more than
No,
anything
you've
else.
said that.
Don't ask me about Rihanna.
No, I'm not saying anything about Rihanna. I'm not saying anything about Rihanna. I said that she gained weight. I don't care. I stand it, but she get big. So moving on.
Right.
Lots of girls want to go into the fitness and the figure,
Right.
but this is going out to all the guys out there who will listen to this.
Oh boy.
We know y'all want the bumpers. They might lose a little bit of the bumpers.
Right.
But she's doing it for her. I don't talk, you know what, let them next to no man. I mean, she's doing it for her. So many women drop out
Right.
because of their boyfriends or husbands not wanting them
Not being supportive.
to look better. And I
Right.
think somebody's not want to look better than them.
Oh, is that what it is? I mean, I
some
think
situation, but yet some of the guys just don't want to lose what they love.
I think there's a little bit of education that's required as well, because I think people still have a perception of what a female fitness competitor looks like. They're still thinking about, you know, kind of the Linda Murray days of female bodybuilders. It's funny you've raised this because I have a client who's actually going through this whole thing right now. She went home and she told a partner that she was thinking about doing one of these fitness shows, and he was angry. But then she went online and she pulled up some pictures. And she showed him of the types of competitors, and he changed his position. So sometimes you have to just sit down and have that conversation and go in with an open mind, and be willing to, you know, support your partner, because, you know, you're going to need their support later on as well.
Because it's about them.
It's about that.
It's about them. I always tell people, if you can start training because you want to and not because the doctor told you to.
Right.
And anything you're doing is for you and the betterment of you and not for anybody else.
Correct. And, you know, she could be doing a lot worse things.
Yeah, true. So let's get away from, actually, you know what, I want to know about this machine.
Right.
So pull up the video.
3 reps. Squeeze. Good. Keep that chin tucked in. 2 reps. Big finish. Hamstring squeeze. Good. Last one. Up. Perfect.
So I really want to try that. I just want to try that. What is that?
That is called an inverse curl. Before they invented this machine, the way we used to do this, somebody would hold your ankles
Oh.
and you would fall forward and then try to push yourself
Back
back up. But what happened obviously is that you were taking the tension off your muscles for part of the range of motion. And then, you know, you're obviously, if you failed, you're going to land on your face.
Flat.
Right, right. But we found out that, you know, working your hamstrings, what we call eccentrically, as they're lengthening, as opposed to shortening, was a way to get them really strong. So any strength or explosive sport athlete, sprinters, rugby players, footballers, cricketers, we see it all the time. We see them running on the field and then they're grabbing their hamstring. So this machine was developed to really get around that, to help develop that hamstring strength. Now what it does is, if a guy is not strong enough to get his entire body weight back up, we can actually give him some help. So the plates you saw on the side of the machine was how much help that athlete was getting. So that was a guy called Reese Phillips, who's a national hurdler, and he was demonstrating it very well. So yeah, come in, start with lots of help, feel it out, and then,
Yeah.
as you go on, then you can take it off.
Okay, well, I can try that. I really need to. So, put in the fitness one side a little bit.
Right.
What are some of your guilty pleasures, George?
My guilty pleasures.
I didn't remember this PG, please.
Oh boy. Well, it's funny, you know, because recently I've adopted a plant-based diet. When I say recently, I'd say within the last year. We started a group on Facebook last year called Fit Start. If you remember Fit Start 2017. Yes. And each month I would put up a challenge for everyone to do.
That's why I stopped watching.
Right. And one month the challenge was to just go plant-based for 1 month.
That's why I stopped
That was
watching.
when you stopped the plant-based month? Well, that plant-based month changed my life.
Okay.
I was the ultimate carnivore. I'm telling you. Some of my meal, one time when I finished training, a typical meal for me was to put a chicken on the
So
rotisserie.
you call it plant-based. So you're not saying that you're a vegan.
I'm completely vegan. I don't even eat honey. I eat no animal products at all.
You know, one of these days I can try that for a day.
Yeah. For one day.
I have 24 hours.
And the thing is, I think like, I mean, I was already in shape, I was already fit, but now I don't have to think about what I eat to be lean.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
How much?
How much protein am I getting?
Not yeah, because you get more protein from plant-based than. But how more expensive and how much more you have to actually eat?
I don't think about it, to be honest with you. I think that one of the things that you can do is you can eat as much as you want without thinking about it, because you know a lot of plant-based diets have such high fiber contents, right? So you know it's very good for it passes through your system. You get more nutrients, and nowadays I'm not saying necessarily that I think that there's anything wrong with eating meat. I think that we can't trust the meat that we're eating a lot of the time.
Can we trust the vegetables?
Well, we can trust them from Fortress Farms because Fortress Farms is fully organic, grown using permaculture practices, and maybe you should search Fortress Farms on Facebook. I'm not saying it's my farm, but you know if you check it out.
Okay,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, so we moved to St. John, and we got a small farm, and we decided that we were going to practice a farming practice that we thought we could put our hearts into. So we just use organic practices, no pesticides, no fertilizers, everything's organic, and we eat as much as what we grow, fruits and vegetables obviously, and yeah, I'm not out there on the sidewalk preaching, but for me it's worked, and I think that's what people have to do. We had this question before. Nutritionally, you have to find what works for you, and if you find that you're a person who feels better eating meat every day, then do that. If you find that you feel better eating meat every now and then do that as well. And if you find that you feel better just having a pure plant-based diet, then that's what you should do. There's so much dogma when it comes to nutrition, and everybody's like, don't do this, don't do that.
Exactly, and don't eat this,
Yeah.
don't eat that.
And nobody really knows. So sometimes for me, it started as an N=1 experiment. I just wanted to try it out for myself and see how my body felt on it, and it felt great. And so far, I'm going to continue with it. I'm not saying never, that I'm going to never eat any animal product again, but for now, this is the direction I'm taking. So my guilty pleasure.
Okra.
Oh,
you fried it.
Yeah, I had some fried I had some fried okra. I don't really. Okay, so every now and then I find that it works so well for me that every now and then I try to keep my weight up now around 172, 170, and every now and then I find myself dipping under 170. At which point in time I will say that I drive through a fast food establishment and I might have a large chips.
That's not like Burger King.
No. Large chips and all potato roti, and
Hungry?
a couple veggie burgers, and yeah, I go home and eat it all at once. So that would probably be my guilty pleasure for now.
And you're human. You're allowed
Absolutely.
to still. And that's the thing. A lot of people feel that they have to sacrifice all this and they can never do this, and they can't eat this no longer.
Right.
I think everything is done in moderation.
And life is about balance, and again, if you're going to be a person who wants to be at one extreme of the spectrum, you want to compete and you want to be on stage all the time, then you have to spend, all the time in the kitchen and all the time in the gym. If you want to get to a particular level of fitness so that you can enjoy the rest of your life, you can go out hiking on the weekend, you can go mountain bike riding, you can play with your kids, you can go and play football with the boys, then you don't need to be as extreme. You can allow yourself a little treat sometimes so you can enjoy your life.
Like Shakira, I used to hire her for splash events, and Shakira was like, "Greg, I can't eat that."
Right.
And she just sipping on bottled water. I was like,
Right.
"Girl, this is crap over."
Yeah,
But she's like, "No, I competed in a
If
couple
she's-
of
yeah, if she's gonna
weeks."
be
So,
competing,
and I mean, I never pushed her or anything, but
Right.
she, whether or not she was still partying, enjoying herself, she made sure that her diet regime was
Yeah.
still extremely strict.
And that's what you need to be a competitive athlete in today's world, because everybody else is spending the time in the gym. Everybody else is putting into practice, but they're all spending the time on their nutrition as well. And if you let one element slip at all, then they're going to beat you. But most of us are just trying to be healthy, be fit, feel better, live better, and enjoy life.
All right. So, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you see those really funny videos with people doing the strangest things on the equipment.
Right.
And you're perplexed.
Right.
What were you thinking?
Right.
So, I have a few of those at my gym and I really like to videotape them, but if I videotape them, I know it's me.
Right.
Just
Okay.
saying.
Uh-huh.
But when you get those persons and you go and you talk to them maybe once, maybe twice,
Right.
and they still persist, how do you deal with that and they're still persisting in doing the crazy move?
People are always like tagging me in those videos, and I never share them on my timeline. I never share them on my timeline because I think most of the time those people just need some help. There's obviously going to be the odd guy who insists on
Some
doing
of them
something
are, some of them
silly.
do need help,
Some of them-
and some of them know better.
Some of them, well, you
I'm
know,
sorry, George. Some
I'm
of them-
thinking that out of 100 people doing something that looks that silly, 2 of them know better. Most people are in there and they're trying to figure it out. And you know, we used to do these very kind of exhaustive orientations. And orientation is where we take people and we teach them how to use all the equipment in the gym. And you would find that if you taught this person 10 or 15 machines, by the time you got to the 15th machine, they forgot everything that you showed them on the first one. So now we make things really simple. We show them 5 or 6 machines so they can remember it. And even then people struggle. I don't think anybody's going in the gym looking to hurt themselves, right? Everybody's going there trying to get better. And I think, you know, we'd probably be better off just going over to a guy and offering him some advice and some help rather than, you know, making a video and posting it on Facebook and shaming him. That's what stops people from going to the gym.
No, I know, but honestly, George, I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. It is funny as hell.
But can you imagine if you were to pick up a new activity, right? Something that's completely foreign to you. You're going there, you're trying to enjoy it, you're trying to get a little bit better.
I asked
and
a
then
question,
and you found yourself on Facebook.
When I look at a machine, it look confusing, and if it can't, my brain cannot figure out
Right.
what that's supposed to do for the body part.
Right,
What does it do?
right,
No, I ain't shaving myself. I don't
Right.
do shave. That's not a good color.
right. Fair enough. But some people try to figure it out, and sometimes they don't always get it right.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
tag
just.
me, don't tag me in any of those videos because I'm not putting them on my timeline.
No, I asked you to share, but
Right.
I'll share them for you
Right.
people.
Okay.
Because some of them really are funny. Okay, so at the end of every video, I like to ask person something. Would you rather? And I sat down for like 15 minutes.
Right. Thinking about me.
I'm thinking about George.
Did you have your clothes on?
I was thinking about George on this question.
Right. Okay.
Lord have mercy, live TV.
Right.
What would make George think? So, would you rather be totally broke
Okay.
and homeless for 1 year,
Right.
or would you rather be impotent
Right.
for 1 year?
Wow. That's a pretty easy. You know, I'm married, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would be broke and homeless for a year because I've been pretty close to that before. It's not as bad as people think, you know. I think if you have the wherewithal to get up there and do something. When I was at university, I worked cleaning out elevator shafts. I worked scrubbing the sides of the roads in the winter. I worked in the bar. I did whatever I had to do. I think sometimes, especially in our society, people feel like, you know, they're above certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But you go out there and you earn an honest dollar, and you can move yourself. What did Martin Luther King say? If you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper there is. And you just do. Whatever I'm going to do, you know, by whatever legal means they are.
Yeah, but my last time with that, make sure it's legal.
Yeah. So I could be broke and homeless again. I think that with my abilities and my education, I could get myself out of that situation. After, you know.
But you're not dealing with impotency.
No. Not with my wife. Yeah.
So to any of those young aspiring persons who want to get into fitness, not just as a personal trainer,
Right.
what advice would you give them?
I'd say make sure it's something that you're passionate about, and not that you feel like you can't do anything else. I think there used to be a perception that you only turn to a physical fitness job if you didn't have the academic qualifications for them, and that's shown itself in the way that people deliver the service a lot of the time. You know, people who haven't been certified, they don't have the education, they don't have the qualification, they're going out there and they're doing the best they can, but because they haven't been trained properly, sometimes the best they can do is not the best thing for the client. So I'd say take your time and go through the process. Treat it like any other career. You wouldn't go out there and start practicing medicine without going to medical school. You wouldn't go out there and start trying to do people's accounts without actually studying accounts. So take your time and put in the work, get the education, and make sure it's something you're passionate about. It shouldn't feel like work. You know, make sure it's something you're passionate about. Get the education, and always think about being of service to other people. It's not about you. I tell my clients that you have to be a chameleon when it comes to training people. Some days I might go in and I might be the sergeant major type because that's what the client needs, and other days they might just need an arm around their shoulder and somebody who's willing to listen to them and be a little bit softer with them.
Like a bartender.
Almost like
a bartender.
Yeah, like a bartender. So, you know, don't go in there and, you know, this is my style of training and this is what I'm going to do. You're there to serve your client, so pay attention to what they're giving you and follow from them.
So tell me about some of the routines and the fitness stuff that y'all have offering at Surfside.
Well, we've been around for 20 years, and we've been, for the most part, we've been one of the innovators in the industry in Barbados. And more recently, we've kind of settled on our brand, and we haven't been coming up with as many new things as we otherwise might. But we've got something new coming this year. Mm-hmm. In April, we're launching something called Fight and Fit Barbados. And it's a new studio space. It's going to be beautifully designed, and it's catering towards those people who want something that's a little bit more high intensity. I don't want to say towards the younger population, but towards a more youthful population. The programming we're going to have in there is going to be combat-based fitness. So I've been posting a lot, and it's not. You don't have to fight to be there. When you Google, when you Google the top 10 most athletic sports, 5 of the top 10 most athletic sports are mixed martial arts or martial arts. So right at the top is mixed martial arts, and then there's wrestling, there's boxing, and so on and so forth. So what we've done is we've taken all those training practices to help make people more athletic, to make them fitter, to make them faster. So we have classes like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the schedule. We're going to have cardio kickbox on the schedule. We've created a space.
That sounds interesting.
We've created a space where if you're a fighter, you can come and use our space to get fit for a fight. But if you just want to lose the last 5 pounds, this space is perfect for you as well. We have turf outside, we have sleds, we have climbing rigs. We're doing WODs as well, so TRX functional training. Anyone who wants that real kind of high intensity, group-based fitness program can come and use our space, as well as any martial artist on the island who wants to get in shape for a fight can come and use the space as well. Okay. That's going to be launching in April.
Wow.
Yeah, so follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Fight Barbados is the tag. Fight and Fit Barbados is the tag on Facebook.
Okay, that's been a mouthful, and I'll be there. I don't know which class I can do. Just saying.
Right.
But I honestly will come and try. I like trying something new. Absolutely. For the first, like when CrossFit first came out, and Janelle, before she got her official box set up, I was doing it from her home, and and then it became a fad. I was like, okay, this is not cute anymore. Right. I'm out.
Yeah, and you know, I think whatever mode of exercise you do, it has this, the community element is one of the things that you want to feel a part of. And
that's what I loved about the whole CrossFit thing. Everybody was like a family when they were doing it.
Right.
Even though I didn't like don't even like some of my own family.
Right.
But but some of the people that were the family I really want to put out. But it's not my place to put them out.
Well, I think it's about creating a community instead of creating cliques.
Yeah,
you know,
and that was I think that's what turned me off, that everything became real cliquey and you're doing certain things, and then why would somebody get away with this? And if I don't get my chin over bar, people cussing me and expect better from me, but then body doing it, and I'm like, okay, seriously?
At the end of the day, we're all trying to do this to have some fun. We're trying to do this, you know,
I'm
to make our lives
competitive as hell.
better. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, still enjoy yourself. I think sometimes you can get a little bit carried away with the competitive element of it and forget the process, you know? Still trying.
I'm competitive as hell.
All right, fair enough.
I'm sorry. I remember like doing Evie's Sunday morning at the beach, and there was one guy that came planning for us. I'll never forget this. Right. So I was like, "Why are you trying to beat us at these sprints?" So you know what I did?
Right. You tripped him up.
No.
Okay.
So I got the 3 of us. So I said, "This I can take the last leg."
Right.
So he won every sprint. He wanted to win.
Right.
So I said, you're going to run the first 2, because we had 10.
Right.
You're going to run the next 3, and I'm going to run the last one. So each one he's running, he's going flat out. For the first 4, he's winning, he's feeling great. I said, good.
Right.
So then I took the last one. I beat him every single one because he was dog tired.
Right.
So I had to strategize.
So you're saying that you feel good about beating a guy who was tired?
Yes!
I'm just checking. We have to take these to wherever we can, right?
Exactly.
Fair
It's
enough.
the bigger picture here, George.
Right,
It's
right,
about
right,
me.
right. Of course. Yeah. But you
No,
know, I think that,
but he came there with this thing that he's going to beat us. Everything was like, okay, no, seriously, I'm going to break you down before this event. Because I'm just in that.
right.
I'm like that.
And if you like that competitive element, I think that's fine. But I think from a gym owner's point of view or from a gym manager's point of view, we have to look at the people who are there to compete against themselves, and they shouldn't be made to feel less because they can't keep up with the rest of the class. You know, they should still feel like they're doing something and they're achieving something. That's in a way. That's why I don't like these weight loss competitions, like The Biggest Loser.
I don't like them either.
Imagine if we all start on a journey together, and you lose 50 pounds and I lose 40 pounds, but you tell me Greg is the winner. I'm supposed to feel bad about losing 40 pounds? You see what I'm saying? Everybody should have their own individual goals, and all their targets should be set based on their own individual bodies and what they're looking to achieve.
Not just who lost the most.
And not just comparing people. Whenever you compare people, somebody's going to come off worse than the other person.
Very true. So, George, I know you have lots of things to go and do.
Yeah. I have to go and choke this guy out in about half an hour.
So, martial arts?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have someone in the studio who is here to kick George's ass.
So if I can give a cheap plug for, we have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seminar on Saturday. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is one of the fastest growing martial arts in the world right now. It's especially designed for smaller people to be able to compete against bigger people. So it's really good for kids, it's really good for women, and it's a great form of self-defense. So if you're interested, we have a seminar on Saturday from 1 till 5 at Surfside, taught by black belt Professor Cesar Perez. So come along, you can still sign up. We got a couple spaces
And he
left.
looks really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to
So
come
looking
along,
at him, honestly, look at him. He looks like a surfer dude type of guy. Yeah, someone that. But knowing that, no, you really don't want to
You don't
mess
wanna
with him.
mess
He's going to
with
kick your ass.
Yeah.
So, George, once again, thank you for coming on.
No, thanks for the opportunity, Greg.
No problem. This is Tea Time with Greg, and for all of those persons who were wondering when I will be giving away the passes, I know who has shared and liked the page, so I will be messaging you. For those who didn't, I'm really sorry. But yeah, I know. So this is Tea Time with Greg, and remember, happy hour is taking a small break. So we'll be coming back in a few weeks, and hopefully bigger and better, and lots of more alcohol, but please drink responsibly.
Of course.
And this is Tea Time with Greg, and over and out.